All right, guys, welcome back to Movie Talk.
So last time I was chosen to, well, not chosen, the cycle.
You were chosen.
It's Neo.
The God was picked. He is the one.
And I picked Prospect.
We're going to keep this one because usually we spoil the whole movie in this one. We're going to do that at the end because this is a pretty unknown movie.
Pretty unknown movie, and it just came out last year.
Yeah, so we're keeping it spoiler-free at the beginning just so if you're interested at any point, you can go watch the movie.
Right.
And then come back because you care about what we have to say.
So the movie that I picked last time was Prospect. The movie's basically starts off with this teenage girl and her father going like to this moon and looking for this. What was it called? I keep
It was called Orlac. They were looking for Orlac.
Looking for Orlac, which is this type of gem that's really expensive, and they're like trying to strike rich essentially.
Yeah.
So they had a contract, and it just kind of starts off from there. They land down. They only have like 3 cycles.
Yeah, 3 cycles.
Yeah.
3 cycles.
They had a time limit to where they could go down to this planet and mine this incredibly valuable crystal. I don't know exactly what it was. Yeah. And her father was in debt as well. Yeah. So it's basically the story and madness ensues. I
love this movie so much because of like the whole retro sci-fi. I don't know why I like it. Retro sci-fi so much. It's kind of like Alien, kind of how they had their retro sci-fi. Like when I played like Alien Isolation.
Is it called retro sci-fi?
I don't know. That's why I tag it as.
I'd have thought like industrial sci-fi.
Yeah, industrial.
Kind of thing. Because that's what it makes me think of is like that sort of. Yeah. These are miners.
And the props they use, I don't know. It was so good.
Yeah.
The soundtrack was pretty nice.
You good?
Yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, I thought the movie was super cool. It had a lot of character, mainly because the budget was so low, and you could tell that they had like no budget to make this. So like they had to get really creative with the shots. Like the whole movie felt really claustrophobic. Everything was like super close up. Yeah. And it kind of like showed that to make a sci-fi movie, you don't really have to do a lot.
Yeah.
But ton of money.
They literally went to a jungle and put a bunch of spores everywhere. It's like I don't know what it was, like particles or spores.
It was like dust.
Or
something. Yeah.
And it just worked really good. It's very suspenseful. I like the acting too. That little girl killed it. I don't know what her name is. Can you pull up her name so we can give her some credit?
The actress name?
It is Sophie Thatcher.
Sophie Thatcher. She did a really good job.
Yeah.
She plays C.
Yeah. And the other guy, I just know him as like Oberyn Martell.
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro Pascal.
And
I love him. I love him in everything.
And her dad was Jay Dulpas.
Yeah. So overall, pretty good movie. You should check it out.
Yeah, I pretty much agree with him. I think I really like the color grading, like the color correction they use. I think that looked really cool. Like it fit pretty well.
Yeah.
And then
there's a lot of like warm tones.
Yeah. And it felt like I don't know like how to explain it. I just know how it looked, and it looked nice.
Especially how they had the.
Yeah, I'll be putting some shots of the movie.
The shot of like you can see the planet
in the background.
Yeah.
That was I thought
that always looks nice.
Yeah. And it made more sense that now that I realized they were on a moon.
Yeah.
For that to be in the background, but yeah, I enjoyed it. It's definitely worth a watch. It did. I don't know. For me, it got a little confusing at one part, but I mean, it was.
We can get into that later.
Yeah. But it's definitely worth your time for sure.
All right, so I always say this, but the setting, I like the setting. But it was like what you were saying. It was like suspenseful, and like for the whole like first half of the movie, I had no idea what was going on. Because they don't even introduce themselves. Like you don't know anything about the characters, and you don't know what's happening.
Yeah, you don't even learn her name.
You don't learn her name until she tells.
Yeah, until like halfway through the movie.
Yeah, and they don't even say what they're going down to that planet to do.
The story just picks up at a random point.
Yeah, and they don't say what's happening, and that's what's like part of the cool like aspect of it. It's like mysterious what they're going to do, and then you obviously learn a lot more about what kind of world they're living in.
Yeah. Another thing is I really like the bare bones. This kind of goes with the budget thing that I was talking about. I really like the bare bones set. They went to a jungle and they just propped up a few buildings. Even if you look at the amount of characters, there's literally not many characters in the movie at all. Yeah. But I feel like that kind of adds to the aesthetic.
Oh, yeah.
Like the industrial sci-fi.
Yeah, and it makes it seem more like barren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
it makes them feel more stranded too.
Yeah.
That they have to leave on that time.
Yeah.
If not, they're screwed.
Yeah. Is that all you had to say?
Yeah, pretty much. It was just a really good movie. I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
I liked it a lot. Maybe other than like some certain nitpicks I had with like the camera at the beginning, like I felt like they were hand holding the camera like a lot more.
Yeah, it was like shaking.
It worked
Yeah.
because it worked to make certain scenes like disorderly and kind of fucked up in a way that helps, but sometimes it's distracting. But besides that, I love the practical effects. I love that there really weren't many actual like CGI effects. A lot of the stuff was like I almost think those guns had like firecrackers in them or some shit to create like a little muzzle flash. But generally, yeah, just a solid movie all around. Great practical effects, good acting. Much like that, I like that sort of industrial sci-fi that's like filthy. It's not like this pristine future or whatever.
Yeah, and what's cool, how it came off to me was like, since they're like all these like broke people and like they're like trying to come up, like they have the lower end of like all the new tech out.
Yeah. I mean,
it's
it's something that kind of mimics like the gold rush, like they were talking about with the Jays, how there was like a rush, and they're just basically space prospectors. So it's the whole fucking thing. So it's this fun thing of I don't know, just seeing like today's jobs carried on to the future. Like that kind of perspective on sci-fi.
Yeah, to what you were saying about the them getting the low end of everything that's out now. I liked during the movie, which is cool that it made me think about this. They were referencing so many other places and so many other planets that I was imagining in my head what that could look like in this world. There's probably like other parts of this universe that is really high tech and futuristic like that.
That's a good point to make, is that it focuses so much on building everything through show not tell that it actually allows you to imagine what the rest of the civilization must look like in comparison to
really engages why you're viewing. They just mentioned that. They don't really explain like what you guys were saying before. That it picks up just in a day, on like a random day of these guys' lives, and it just kind of tells you things. Doesn't explain itself at all. Which is part of the cool aesthetic.
Like lets you see for yourself.
Yeah. So, if you're not convinced that you want to watch this movie now and you want to get spoilers beyond this point, is there anything in specific that you guys like? Any particular scenes that you thought were really cool? If you don't want to start, I got one.
Yeah, I can. I want to get more detailed with the props of so like how you said all the industrial sci-fi things, like how they use the tools when he had to cut his arm off. And such. It's just so cool to see, like, the props are so cool, especially the guns. They're, like, so interesting. Like, I never seen a model. Like, every single time you see sci-fi, it's like...
You think, like, this is high-tech, like...
Super high-tech.
Like, plasma rifle.
Yeah, but this is, like,
so... Almost always you press a fucking button and it goes...
Yeah.
Even had to charge up the
that was one of my favorite things when she was in the little corner of the ship and the guy was coming in and she like just cranking
the bullet
the magazine. It was cool as hell.
And there's also like how I said the scene of the planet, but I can go more in detail of where she's standing out there when she ran off about the deal. They want to buy her. And she just runs off, and you just see her just stare out. And you just see it was so cool.
I think that was one of the only really wide shots they had. And it kind of like made you feel like, oh shit.
Yeah.
She's kind of like pretty alone here and in trouble.
That's another thing, is I do wish there kind of were more like wholly realize that the whole point is that it's meant to be claustrophobic and zoomed in and everything like that. But I feel like you kind of have to pull back more every once in a while, because if you don't, then all of a sudden it just becomes the norm. You know what I mean? Like the entire movie feels claustrophobic, therefore it doesn't really feel claustrophobic at all. But I mean, I feel like that's fine. It works as like a character thing for like she's in unfamiliar places, so she's nervous about everything, so it makes sense. But I don't know, I would have liked it to pull back
her character too is kind of weird, because like you said, she was like nervous and hopeless, but she's also kind of a badass at the same time. When she was cutting that dude's arm off, she's like,
right, but she's comfortable. Younger. She's comfortable with the situations that she's familiar with, but not with being fucking possibly stuck on a moon for however long.
and shooting.
Yeah.
You shoot for shit.
Yeah, because like if you think about it, like the whole like civilization that's in place has to be pretty advanced because they have like a whole like public transport.
Yeah.
Like you catch the train.
They got space trains.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was really cool.
Yeah.
It was making me think of, I wonder if owning one of those trains is equivalent to somebody owning a private jet. Like in
Yeah.
today's society, like you have to be really freaking rich.
Yeah, to have like a whole like ship.
Yeah, like the ships and the shuttles and shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, 'cause
Yeah.
they had a drop pod or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like what you were saying about the guns too. They kind of look like tubes. Like her,
Yeah.
was it what was it called again?
They had a name.
Throwers. Or something
Yeah, it was like a
that?
thrower.
Yeah, I think they were calling it that.
Yeah, I like how it was just a tube. They look like, it looks like they just took.
It almost looked like they shot like fucking nails. Like it was like
Yeah, it was
a
like a
nail
rail
gun or
gun or
something.
something.
Yeah,
It was weird.
that was really cool.
But it was, dude had a huge one.
Yeah, he had like a Gatling
He had a
gun.
minigun. He didn't
Yeah.
even talk.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's a
that
mute.
guy was a
I think he was a robot though,
Wait,
No.
dude.
or something. He was like, oh, he's more of a. I forgot what he said.
utility.
Yeah, more of
Yeah.
a utility than a person.
But
That's what made me think he was like a cyborg or a robot or something. But he
Was
did
he?
have blood.
You know what I just realized? Could that have been the guy that was all red at the end of the movie?
No. That guy died.
what do you
I'm
mean?
saying.
All red.
When
pink.
that guy was in prison.
You know the guy with the big minigun that was shot a bunch of times?
Mm-hmm.
Could that have been the guy they had in
No.
the tube?
No,
No, they
he was
transported
already a
him.
prisoner.
The
They
mercs
already
were there
had him.
waiting.
They had him?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
had
they
him.
brought him there because it was tradition. That's what they said, and they
see.
paid good to
Yeah.
bring him there.
That would have been cool if it was him.
Saved him.
Just-
At the
still
end of the
alive.
movie, he saves her.
He comes in, bashes dude's head in.
Yeah, but no, that's just like some random guy who's in prison and being executed by the mercs because they were paid.
No, it wasn't even execution. It was just like
They're
tradition.
just holding him.
Yeah, just holding him there.
Yeah.
Until he like suffocated or some shit.
It's like a
with
form
the
of
dust.
execution.
That's one other thing I liked. I thought the reason they were wearing the helmets was because they couldn't breathe on that planet or moon.
Oh, it's like the dust. Yeah.
Right, but it's the dust. As soon as they get into a tent, they can just take it off,
Yeah.
and that's what I found like really interesting.
I like
They
Yeah,
had,
to,
like
like,
filter
filter it out,
systems
yeah.
and stuff.
yeah.
Yeah,
I like how they're all hooked together and everything.
Yeah.
Nothing was clean.
Yeah.
It was
yeah,
all
that's the appeal of it is how it's not this fucking laser gun future or anything like that. It's just these fucking workers just having a bad day, bad couple days.
it looks like what the 80s thought the future would look like.
That's why I called it retro sci-fi.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, what it's actually called.
I mean, I don't even know if it's actually
Yeah.
called industrial sci-fi. That's just what I think of it more as, because it's like when you think about aliens, it's just a bunch of like space truckers, effectively. Like they literally like they're a delivery service pretty much, and then
Yeah.
they end up getting attacked.
Yeah. I like their what's it called? They're like astronaut suits. Those look really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I pictured like the shot that was kind of funny was when he like turned around and had like half his face was covered by his suit.
Yeah.
I know that was funny to me, but it was.
Yeah,
Just
that happened like a couple
bulky
times.
it is.
Anyone have any actual other points?
I have a bunch, but I liked that one scene where they had the standoff. Like, you know, when her dad was like he was like captive by Ezra,
Yeah.
Pablo or Pedro.
Yeah,
Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, it's his name is Ezra, and it's Pedro Pascal.
Yeah, Pedro's character, and then she just comes out and they're just having a standoff,
Yeah.
and then shit happened.
Yeah.
Yeah, I read the synopsis before I watched it and saw like, oh, it's a father and daughter. The father kind of goes crazy or whatever like that. I kind of figured it was gonna be something where the
Yeah,
father was a bigger part of the story. He
No.
kind of fucking eats shit like
instantly.
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I went in watching it without knowing anything about it. I had no idea. I was like,
I didn't even mean to.
clueless
It was just
for
I
most of
wanted
it.
to make sure it was the right movie. And
Yeah,
I
yeah.
found-
For me, I watched the trailer. The trailer had her dad dying. I'm like,
Oh, okay.
Well, I feel like it kind of had to because it on the picture it had on
It's
Hulu
just-
to
yeah.
watch it. It was the Pedro.
Ezra.
Yeah, it was just
it's-
Ezra there. I was like, oh.
Ezra and C.
And I was watching it. I was
it
like,
would
damn,
be
they
more
haven't
shock
introduced him
value
yet.
though. You know?
I mean, if you're gonna do
Yeah.
it that early, I mean, it
I had
doesn't
not seen the
matter.
trailer, so it
Yeah.
shocked me. So
Yeah,
I got
yeah.
a slightly better experience.
Mhm. Yeah, thancefully because the synopsis kept most of the shit out of it. I was
Yeah.
shocked as well.
He died. I was like, what?
What?
Yeah, I had to.
What's
force
happening?
Yeah,
myself
when
to
you
take
hear
notes.
him like hurt, I was like,
Yeah, there's
I
no
can
way he's
imagine
gonna
you
live.
think like, oh, he might be still fine.
Yeah, the guy just shoots him dead.
Executes him.
Cleans
Oh my
him.
bro.
No, another thing I like though was like the dynamic between like the like the prisoner and like how they had it with the daughter and the
Pedro.
and Ezra. I thought they did that pretty well.
I liked watching their bond grow.
Yeah.
Because it didn't seem like she was too crazy about her dad either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was,
No,
I was about to say
I don't
that.
think she was.
No,
He
she definitely
dies
wasn't.
and she just goes back to the pod.
Has
Doesn't work. Just gets high from the
gummies, whatever it was,
whatever
yeah.
that was.
She only seems fucked up, like, as far as, like, okay, this was my dad, and that's about it. Like, it's not a connection really there or anything like
Yeah.
that. And I feel like that's actually a good thing to sort of point out as far as, like, how the universe is,
Yeah.
you know, the state of their civilization, where it's like, the dad was so fucked up that she doesn't care, she's just gonna get high and listen to some music.
No,
Because
Another
that was her
thing-
life.
She seemed almost relieved
Yeah.
that she was free of him.
Right.
Yeah, because like how Ezra was saying that like his dude, he called him number 2, was just like a utility to him.
Yeah.
So he was saying that her dad, like she was the same thing to her dad.
Yeah.
So that's probably why she didn't care. as much.
He really didn't listen to anything she ever had to say.
Yeah,
She
when
didn't,
she-
she didn't fill him in, or he didn't fill her in, or
anything,
anything.
yeah.
She was just in the dark, like constantly.
And I feel like Ezra was kind of talking to her, was kind of like the only people, because we only saw her interact with her dad, but he was actually speaking to her
As a person.
as a person.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So maybe that's why they kind of connected on that
'Cause
level,
she-
which must be really weird, just
Yeah.
being friends with the guy who killed your dad.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I was like, what happens now? Like, they leave this place.
I mean,
And,
she
like-
saved him, so
Yeah, I know.
I
She
can only
saved
imagine
him.
what happens.
But, like, they start, like, being, like, or he takes care of her. Like,
I don't
He-
think she needs to be taken
he-
care of, bro.
yeah.
I know, I'm just saying, like, if that happened, like, that's just
He
strange.
even explained when she was like about to shoot him. She was a bit mad that her dad died,
Yeah.
but he explained like he's not doing it out of like that
It's
he's
nothing
bad.
personal,
That's
yeah.
just how it is.
Yeah, that's just
Yeah.
how it is.
Because
And then he
her
was trying to
dad
steal-
did try
yeah.
to rob her. Him.
Yeah.
He tried to
Dad
rob
was
his
like-
stuff.
Stealing all like
The whole dig.
the whole dig.
Yeah, he said the line. What was the line? That's how it is. He should have known that. If he didn't
Yeah.
know that, he didn't deserve to be here.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was something like that.
To you, his daughter, I truly apologize for my contribution to his passing. But he was stealing my entire harvest. And actions like these foment the threat of appropriate reactions. Your father knew that. And if he didn't, then he had no business in the green.
She understood a bit more, but she still hated his guts until that bond they build.
Yeah, cutting somebody's arm will do that to you. I know out of personal experience.
I was like, ugh,
Yeah.
just hearing the sound.
Not
Sound
even the
effect.
blood, seeing like
Yeah.
the.
I love his
Practical
reaction to
effects.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They just like on his face the whole time.
So this is it for this video. Now I'll move on to Miguel to suggest the next movie. Yes.
I'm gonna pick Moonlight, which is a movie that came out like 2016. So if you like the video, we have a lot more of these, and we have other kinds of videos too. So come back, subscribe. We're trying to hit 100. Love you.